You're watching Talkin' Ducks, built by Parr Lumber. Talkin' Ducks is presented by Pacific Clear Vision Institute and Les Schwab Tire Centers. Welcome into another edition of Talkin' Ducks. Yes, I'm on the road up in enemy territory, up in Seattle. Got a little work for Pac-12 Networks here, but we've got a terrific show for you. We're going to talk about Oregon's resilient win over Washington State, the continued dominance of Kayvon Thibodeau and how he had his fingerprints all over this game, and then the college football playoff. Oregon right there with Ohio State in that top four. Seems like the Ducks control their own destiny, and then we'll set the stage for Oregon's most dangerous game of the season on the road at Utah. But let's go ahead and get to our opening drive, brought to you by Les Schwab Tire Centers. Les Schwab Tire Centers, where they've been doing the right thing since 1952. And let's send it to the fellas, Aaron Fentress from the Oregonian, Anthony Newman, and Joey Harrington to get their thoughts on this resilient Oregon win, guys.
I think that's the right word, Jordan. Resilient. That's kind of been the theme for the season. And I think all of us need to, I say myself included a little bit, reframe what we think about this team, right? For so long as Oregon fans, we've been used to high-flying, fast scoring, game-changing, college football changing with Chip, things happening on the offensive side of the ball. And too often, Anthony, and you know this, the blame falls on the defense, right? And we've been saying since the start of the season that Mario has built a different team. Yet we don't quite acknowledge that, right? We still expect lots of points right from the start. But that's not the type of team that Mario has built, right? Let's acknowledge that fact. He has built a team that is based on the offensive line, a strong running game, which often includes the quarterback, and solid defense, right? And if you have a team that's built like that, you're not going to come out and score 21 in the first quarter every week. But what you're going to do is you're going to grind. And what's going to seem like tough in the first quarter is going to get a little easier in the second and a little easier in the third, and then the dam is going to break in the fourth, like we've seen happen the last couple weeks. Teams like this are built to win monsoon games in Seattle in November. They're built to win college football playoff games against stronger, tougher teams, right? That's always been the knock on Oregon, is that they score a bunch of points, but as soon as they played Stanford, who could run the ball and play defense, or they played an SEC team, or they played Ohio State, they got pushed around. This type of team that Mario has built is around the philosophy of being tough up front, running the ball, and they're starting to show that. And Anthony, they're playing some good defense too.
Well, yeah, they are playing some good defense. And, it's kind of funny, Aaron, I want to talk because I want to get this out, okay? It's funny when you hear people talk about – no. When you hear people talk about Oregon, and always before the game, the national media or even our local media people or even someone on our panel, Aaron, they're always talking about, when Oregon plays Washington State – okay, they're going to have their hands full, because, the last two games they played before that, those teams didn't have an offense, or those teams didn't have a defense. But now it's different at Washington State. Washington State always creates problems. Can we now say, okay, when teams play Oregon, they're going to have some issues. They're going to have a defense they have to deal with. They're going to have the quarterback that can run the football and throw the football. They have some receivers that can block downfield. They get kind of nasty. Can we talk about all those good things going forward? Because at one point we have to say teams got to deal with Oregon instead of we keep telling people Oregon has to deal with other teams. Oregon is a good football team.
He's coming out of the gates hot. I just
got off a plane from a 4-game Blazers trip, but it's okay. Just pick on the weary guy. I get it. That's fine. But for the record, I picked Oregon to win this game 33-26, which, I was pretty close. I think that's reasonable. I was off a touchdown. I was off a touchdown kind of, But I figured they would win. But it was close. It was a one-score game late in this game. They put on a couple of touchdowns late. So I was right also in the fact that I said that they were going to give Oregon some trouble. Oregon is not a dominant team. And to Joey's point, they're not necessarily built to be a dominant team. I will say this. Early in the season, when you're looking at these scores and they're not very impressive, you wonder, are losses going to come? Because the more close games you play, the more likelihood you're going to lose. And that's what happened at Stanford, right? And it almost happened to Cal. Well, Cal almost tied the game. And they were in a game at UCLA. And this game was tied as well. And now you got Utah coming up. But that said, we're in November. They only have one loss. All you need to do now is win, and it doesn't matter how you do it. So I'm with you guys 100% on that. Just win. Just be 12-1. Because if you're 12-1, I've said since the playoffs started, if you're 12-1 in the Pac-12, you're going to get in. Oklahoma lost. That really hurts. I mean, obviously, that probably destroys their chances. So if you're Oregon, win out. It doesn't matter if you win by 1 point, half a point, 10 points. Just keep winning.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and get to the post-game cut brought to you by Parr Lumber. Parr Lumber, go where the builders go. Here's Coach Cristobal on the little things Oregon did and whether or not he got the right angle on some things.
You know, we're getting better. We're getting better and better as a program. Our run game continues to improve. The way we're defending the run continues to improve. We defend the pass well for the most part tonight, albeit that last drive. A lot of parts are coming together. Our special teams, our coverage units were way better tonight. Drastic improvement. We worked on them. It showed up. Got to mention Chris Hudson because Chris Hudson's tackle on the fumble, well, what they call the fumble. I don't have a good TV angle. Maybe you guys saw it better than I did, but as that thing was getting returned, Chris Hudson getting that defender on the ground, end up making them settle for 3, where that could have really turned the game around the other way. It could have been a huge momentum swing. So credit to him for doing that. Things like that, things that stick out, Mikel's kickoff return, Verone's interception, the defensive stand after Chris Hudson's tackle, all those things they're the catalyst, man. Those things are really big time plays against an excellent, I want to give them a lot of credit. That's a really good football team. That's a team that's really hard to prepare for. They're very unique in what they do on both sides of the ball.
So some interesting comments from Coach here. Aaron, your takeaway from Cristobal after the game.
Well, he's not wrong. I mean, they are getting better. They're becoming more efficient. They're becoming more dominant up front. They rushed for over 300 yards in this game. Anthony Brown was a big part of that. But much credit goes to the offensive line. That's been my thing since last year. It's not about the backs. I mean, as good as Dye is, as good as Verdell was, you have to be able to carve up opposing defenses up front, and the offensive line has been doing it. And if they continue to do this, they're going to win the Pac-12. In the Pac-12 title game 2 years ago, they played Utah. Utah had the best run defense in the country, and they just sliced and diced them, which just shows how if you can get it going up front, even against very good defensive teams, you can totally change the complexion of the game. So if they can continue doing that against better defenses, which they're going to face in Washington State, let's be honest here, but if they can continue doing that, they're going to continue winning.
Look, Aaron, I got to jump in on what he said about having a camera angle because apparently ESPN didn't, right? This is important because had that call been overturned like it probably should have, this is a significantly bigger blowout. This looks bigger nationally, right? You don't have the discussion about a close game. I think it speaks to the fact that, I mean, if you're looking at all the college football, analysts and the playoff predictors, they're not giving Oregon a percentage chance to even be in the discussion. They're talking about, is Ohio State a better pick or is Alabama a better pick? They're not even talking about Oregon. And I think it speaks to the disrespect, and some of it is earned. The fact that teams like Washington and USC have kind of disappeared, Stanford from national prominence. But to put that type of minimalist crew on such an important game, this was the most important game in the Pac-12. And ESPN, to show the disrespect that they did, to not have the proper replay angles at that time in the game on such a big call, that's disappointing.
All right, don't go anywhere. When we come back, Anthony Newman gets a chance to shine. We'll talk about the Oregon defense and the dominant play of Kayvon Thibodeau as we continue along on Talkin' Ducks.
Parr Lumber is committed to providing the best customer service. We provide personal service. We're problem solvers. We're positive and courteous. We're competent and professional. We are committed to delivering exceptional service every time. We're appreciative and we care. We are Parr Lumber.
Hi there, it's Les Schwab Tires, reminding you that changing seasons can mean changing road conditions. Introducing the brand new Backcountry AT2 for a quieter ride with improved performance in wet conditions. Because when it comes to keeping your family safe, the right tires help you feel prepared for anything. Seriously, anything. Now save up to $130 when you buy Quadtrac tires with financing. Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952.
Being able to get LASIK gave me the opportunity to not worry about putting contacts in every day, and just kind of made my life a little easier. Pacific Clear Vision Institute was just incredible through my entire experience. The staff was very welcoming. Dr. Embody. He really just kind of laid it out and made me feel comfortable and gave me confidence to know that I was in good hands. I would definitely recommend Pacific Clear Vision Institute for any sort of laser eye surgery.
Since 1961, Comfort Flow Heating has provided service to more than 50,000 homes and businesses in the Willamette Valley. While the technology and techniques in our industry have changed, our founding principles have remained the same: to provide exceptional service in all areas of our business and for our customers to enjoy their products from us and be comfortable for years to come.
From all of us at Comfort Flow, thank you for choosing us.
You're watching Talkin' Ducks, built by Parr Lumber. Welcome back. Time now for our solid stop, brought to you by Milan Stoneworks, bringing you the finest stoneworks in the Northwest. And how about the huge play by the defense? Opening drive of the game, Washington State looks like they're going to score in less than a minute, but Oregon forcing the fumble on Jaden DeLaura. And yes, even though it's one of the worst rules in all of college football, Oregon takes advantage of it. Jamal Hill, the huge hit, and that means the Ducks save their bacon to start this game. And Anthony, it says more about this Oregon defense, where it seems like time and time again this year, they just make plays when they need them the most.
Yeah, they're getting better. That's what I always say. You have to get better as the season goes on. And, we can talk about the past. The past, at one point, Oregon was ranked, I think, the 100th or 109th in the country in total defense. And that was a little bit of a problem. They have gotten so much better. And here's the issue. You had injuries. And anytime you have injuries, you have young guys that need to replace their older guys. And then when the young guys get in there, the game is kind of speeded up a little bit. It's different from practice. Guys are a lot faster than they think they are. Now the game is starting to slow down for those young guys. And now the talent of those young guys are starting to make plays. And then the veteran guys, some guys who were hurt. Thibodeau, he was hurt. I think he's healthy now. Those guys become a big factor. So if this defense keeps improving, they're hard to deal with. You got a defensive end that gets to the quarterback. You got a linebacker who is the best middle linebacker in the country, and you have a secondary led by Verone McKinley III that is a ball hawk. It's a great defense.
No argument there.
What?
Thank you. Thank you.
I was sitting back and waiting for something from you, but they're
doing
getting
a great
soft.
job. What can you say?
Jet-lagged.
They had to get better, and they got better. Newman's 100% correct. Other guys are stepping up. They're making the plays when they need to. And to Joey mentioned, they're not built to run away from people. So if you're not going to run away from people, you need a defense that's going to keep the other team from running away from you. Or late in games, protecting leads, which is what they've been able to do, other than the Stanford game. But that was a long time ago.
Well, time now to put things into focus, brought to you by Pacific Clear Vision Institute, the official eye doctors and eye surgeons of the Oregon Ducks. And what else can you say about Kayvon Thibodeau? Didn't get too many chances to eat the last few weeks based upon the scheme, but against Washington State, his presence certainly felt. 2 huge sacks, and it just goes back to this, Aaron. He's such a game wrecker and somebody that can completely change the momentum at any point.
Absolutely. And before the game, the one area where I thought Washington State could have some success, and they did, was the quick passing game to neutralize the pass rush. And they did that to a certain point. But at some point in any game, you're going to have to go downfield. You can't just throw hitches and flats and shallow crosses all game. So when they did that, that opened things up for Kayvon, and Kayvon was able to make plays as usual. It's unfortunate he wasn't 100% earlier. I think he has 6 total sacks right now. He could be at 10 or more. And I wonder if this is missing the time he missed, is going to cost him Defensive Player of the Year. I kind of feel like that because he's the best defensive player on the best team and he's clearly the most talented player in the conference, that he could still get Defensive Player of the Year even though he missed some time. But man, where would his stats be right now had he been healthy the entire season?
Yeah, and unfortunately, Aaron, they don't have a stat for what he creates for other people too, right? We were talking before the UCLA game. Oh, they have to do something. No. He goes off, right? So he goes off against UCLA. Then all of a sudden, for a couple games, people start to figure out that they got to put more emphasis on him. They got to pay attention to him, and that opens up opportunities for other guys on the defense. And now you're hitting that point, right, where he was coming off of injury, came in and exploded. Then he attracts attention, and he allows the rest of the defense to kind of catch up and play their game. And now you're at the point where it's all starting to even out, right? Like you said, he didn't get his early, but as the game started to go on and they had to push the ball down the field, that's when he gets his opportunities. His value is so much more than just the sacks and the tackles for loss that he brings. His value is what he creates and the opportunities he gives to everybody else on the field because coaches have to scheme around where he is and how to take care of him. And that leaves other people in one-on-one matchups. Or he drops into coverage and creates interceptions, opportunities for interceptions for the secondary. He's just an incredibly versatile player. And
so I wonder how many quarterbacks in the conference are knocking on the offensive coordinator's door every week going, yo, coach, I want to make sure y'all got a plan for number 5, all right?
Hey,
my mom's coming, and I want to, go hang out with them after the game, and I have to go to the hospital. So make a plan for number 5. Sorry, go ahead.
All right, when we come back, we'll talk about Anthony Brown and his play, his legs really helping Oregon get to this victory, plus the next great Oregon running back to don the ever-coveted number 21. We'll break down the big performance by the youngster when we come back.
Hi there, it's Les Schwab Tires, reminding you that changing seasons can mean changing road conditions. Introducing the brand new Backcountry AT2 for a quieter ride with improved performance in wet conditions. Because when it comes to keeping your family safe, the right tires help you feel prepared for anything. Seriously, anything. Now save up to $130 when you buy Quad-Track tires with financing. Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952.
Eugene Airport is a proud part of what makes Western Oregon such a unique place to be. With nonstop routes that connect to hundreds of destinations, fly local, fly EUG.
In the heart of the South Willamette Valley, just 12 miles southwest of Eugene, distinctive handcrafted wines are waiting for you at Sylvan Ridge Winery. Sylvan Ridge Wines bring unassuming, casual elegance to your homes, tables, and celebrations, and are best paired with the mainstays of a social gathering: good food, fond friends, and lively conversation. Discover our wines by visiting our tasting room. For a list of events or to plan your visit, go to sylvanridge.com. Proud partners of the Oregon Ducks.
Parr Lumber is committed to providing the best customer service. We provide personal service. We're problem solvers. We're positive and courteous. We're competent and professional. We are committed to delivering exceptional service every time. We're appreciative and we care. We are Parr Lumber.
You're watching Talkin' Ducks, built by Parr Lumber. Welcome back to Talkin' Ducks. Time now for our Thing of Beauty, brought to you by Dr. Lee B. Daniel and Aesthetic Plastic Surgery. Live beautiful. How about Anthony Brown? 17 carries, 123 yards, and this rushing touchdown. A huge day on the ground for Anthony Brown. And Joey, listen, a lot of folks throughout this season, and rightfully so, have had critiques about the arm and throwing of Anthony Brown at certain moments, but he's certainly gotten better there. But this dual threat that he poses, the fact that he can run so effectively and make plays like this is huge for Oregon, something they really haven't had the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, honestly, what I think it is, it's leadership. More than, if we get beyond just the physical attributes, his willingness to do the things that the coaches are asking of him, his willingness to deal with the criticism, his ability to, a couple weeks ago, go out and throw for 250 and 3 touchdowns. This week, run for $1.25. He's just adapting. And if you look at the one consistent thing throughout this year, though, whether it's the end of the Fresno game, whether it's the Ohio State game, whether it's this Washington State game, I think he had one against UCLA as well. He has made a huge play with his legs at some turning point in this game. And I don't think we can overlook that. What Anthony Brown has brought to this team hasn't always been pretty, but it's been gritty, right? It's been tough and it's been resilient, and that's exactly what this team has needed. Yeah, what he's done hasn't always been pretty, but there we go, right at the thing of beauty. It's been beautiful. How about that?
Joey, it's kind of funny. I've been saying this from the beginning, okay? From a defensive guy, trying to stop a quarterback like this, it is hard to deal with because now the game's all about numbers for defense. How many guys do they have to block us? Okay, they have too many guys to block us. We need to bring somebody over on this side of the field. When you have a quarterback now can run the football, and now you got a couple running backs back there are blocking for the quarterback, okay, now we have an issue. We have a number issue, okay? And then you have a quarterback that's 6'3", 230, okay? He's not a little bitty guy. He's a big guy. He's going to get those extra yards. Just 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. He may get that first down. That touchdown run was a touchdown run. That was about a 12-yard touchdown run, 13-yard touchdown run because of his body. He's so big. So it's really hard to defend him. And if he can throw the ball, when he gets in that zone, throwing the ball down the field, it's over.
I'm going to jump back in. I know, Aaron, you got to get something, but I got to say this because you said running backs blocking for the quarterback. Take a look next time. Quarterback blocking for the running backs.
Yes.
When Anthony Brown gets out on that option and he gives the ball, he gets upfield and he puts blocks down the field as well. This guy truly does it all.
He does. He absolutely does. Hey, remember in 2019 when a lot of people were wondering why wasn't Herbert running? And clearly I believe that there was an agreement, don't let my boy run, maybe from Herbert's dad, because he's going to be a first-round pick. He could have been one had he gone pro in 2020. He came back, preserved him, and then he ran in the championship game against Utah and then in the Rose Bowl, right? Well, Anthony Brown now is giving you what people wanted to get from Herbert in 2019. He's got 500-plus yards already with 3 games to go, not counting a bowl game. He's got 8 rushing touchdowns, which is the most since Mariota rushed for 15 in 2014. You can't discount that. No, he's not a great passer, but when you factor in his rushing ability and his toughness, it makes up for his deficiencies in the passing game, I believe.
Well, fellas, as impressive as Travis Dye has been, how about the next potentially great Oregon running back wearing that number 21 that LaMichael James ever so popularized? And Aaron, how about Byron Cardwell? 9 carries, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns, averaged just under 11 yards per carry, and this is great for Oregon. Listen, you miss C.J. Verdell. Obviously, you have him. This offense is clicking on even more cylinders. But for Oregon, you've got to be thrilled when you look at the future of the running back position, what we've seen from Dye and Cardwell over the last couple of weeks, Aaron.
Absolutely. I've been wondering about the future of the running back position because for years we were used to seeing 2 or 3 guys in the backfield, sometimes 2 or 3 future NFL players in the backfield. And we were wondering when Verdell went down, who would be the next guy? And for a couple games, we weren't even given a look at anyone. But now Cardwell looks like not only the guy to be the backup right now, but the future. Like, he looks legit, and it's fun to watch. I'm developing a little bit of a man crush on my man Cardwell because he's just a big guy who's got a little bit of wiggle. He's got some speed as well. But, man, I just have to say this. No one should ever be wearing number 21. It should be retired twice already. The top 2 running backs in the history of the program both wore 21. Tear that off, my man, and give it to someone else. Or, no, excuse me, retire it. I don't know what I'm talking about. Give it to someone else. Give it to the rafters, my bad.
The top 2, who's the second one? I'm thinking.
Freeman.
Oh,
they 10,000 yards combined, and that jersey's not retired? Who do I need to talk to? Rob Mullins?
Byron will take over. He'll keep up that number. He'll keep up, talk. I got to talk about Byron for a minute, okay? He's a freshman, correct? He's a freshman. Now, did you see how he set up his blocks? Freshmen don't do that. They just get the ball and run. First of all, because they're scared, okay? And second, they don't really know the plays, and they're trying to find the hole. This guy is setting up blocks, slowing down, and he's very fast. He's explosive in a hole, but he's setting up his big boys up front to make those blocks, and then he accelerates, okay, through the line of scrimmage. That was a great touchdown run at the end of the game. This kid is only a freshman, and he's running like that. Unreal. Might be better than LaMichael. No, I don't know. But no, he won't be.
Come on,
that's a big shoes to fill.
1,000 career yards first before we even say something ridiculous.
Big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill.
All right, stick around because when we return, we'll talk more about all this conversation regarding style points for Oregon. Does it matter that they're winning, or do they need to win with a little bit more flair? We'll break that down when we come back on Talkin' Ducks.
Hi there, it's Les Schwab Tires, reminding you that changing seasons can mean changing road conditions. Introducing the brand new Backcountry AT2 for a quieter ride with improved performance in wet conditions. Because when it comes to keeping your family safe, the right tires help you feel prepared for anything. Seriously, anything. Now save up to $130 when you buy Quadtrac tires with financing. Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952.
Being able to get LASIK gave me the opportunity to not worry about putting contacts in every day, and just kind of made my life a little easier. Pacific Clear Vision Institute was just incredible through my entire experience. The staff was very welcoming. Dr. Embody, he really just kind of laid it out and made me feel comfortable and gave me confidence to know that I was in good hands. I would definitely recommend Pacific Clear Vision Institute for any sort of laser eye surgery.
You're watching Talkin' Ducks, built by Parr Lumber.
What people fail to realize is the fact that every game you play in November, something's on the line. For example, Washington State is looking to get bowl eligible. 5-4 team that's actually really good. Looking to just get bowl eligible and also knock us off. So things are higher stakes, and some people don't understand that dynamic.
Winning in November is hard every time. Winning is hard in general. So being able to do it and continue to be resilient and continuing to get better and to keep working and for us to stay humble as a team is huge, and it's major for us.
Every game is a playoff game, and us having this target on our backs, it makes every team want to play their best. One thing that we had a problem with was playing down two teams. And now I feel like we're in that mode where teams have to play up to us.
Well, let's get to the hot topic, brought to you by Comfort Flow Heating, the HVAC industry leader in Western Oregon since 1961. And Joey, let's start with you. A lot of people discouraged that Oregon isn't really getting style points, even though they're piling up the wins in November. We know it's a very difficult month to win in. For Oregon, now that's your number 3 in the college football playoff, does it matter that you're winning without a lot of style as far as these huge lopsided scores? Or is it just more important for the Ducks to keep winning out?
People put a lot of stock in, or I should say unnecessary stock in style points, right? That was the old BCS, when you had 2 spots and you had to get one, and it was based on people voting around the country and what they saw in the style. That still exists to a certain point, but the fact that you have 4 teams that are allowed in has created a situation where that so rarely happens that it's almost a moot point, right? Just win. There have been so few times that one-loss conference champions have been not selected into the college football playoff in this format that it doesn't matter. Just win. Don't worry about trying to put up style. Don't worry about trying to do it a certain way, because we talk about it every single year, whether it's Michigan State 2 weeks ago, whether it's Oklahoma this week. Every single year, there are upsets in November because people can't finish the job. It is so difficult to win from the end of August until the beginning of December that it doesn't matter how you do it. Just win, and things will take care of themselves.
I agree 100%. I mean, I said that kind of earlier, that it doesn't matter at this point. and it does become tougher for a lot of different reasons. One of them being that you're in conference against teams that are familiar with you, but they also have 8, 9, 10 weeks of game film on you to prepare and maybe be able to attack certain areas where they know you might have a strength and they might have a disadvantage to sort of make things tougher on you. So yeah, at the end of the day, keep winning. And I think Joe and I, and Newman, I'm sure agrees with us too. If you're 12-1 at the end of the day out of the Pac-12, the odds of you not getting in, I think, are always going to be very high. And I think they're incredibly high this time because there's going to be a lot of crazy things that are going to happen the last few weeks and other conferences as well. Just make sure nothing crazy happens to you next week at Utah.
Well, I think Joey said it earlier. Oregon, they get disrespected from a national media, and
damn media.
It's style points. It's all about style points. And I think it's used against Oregon all the time. Oh, you got to win with style. So, Aaron, maybe you can help me out here. Maybe I'll give you. You need to go get a shovel. I'll get a goalpost and a bag of cement. Okay, and we can put that goalpost in the end zone, dig a nice hole, put some cement in it, and keep it grounded. Because people keep moving the goalpost for Oregon. It's they're not good enough. Oh no, they're not good enough. Oh no, they're not good enough. Yeah, they still win. They keep winning. They beat Ohio State. Oh, but it's not good enough. Oh, it's not good enough. When is it good enough? They got to run the table. That's what they have to do. They got to run the table to be good enough for everybody to believe that Oregon is in that playoff run.
When we return, we'll fly around the Pac-12. Another coaching change in the Pac-12. Jimmy Lake out at Washington, plus the Beavers now bowl eligible. We'll take a look at everything happening in the Pac-12 when we come back.
Stories tell us that great leaders are anointed at birth, chosen by the hand of fate. But those are just stories.
Parr Lumber is committed to providing the best customer service. We provide personal service. We're problem solvers. We're positive and courteous. We're competent and professional. We are committed to delivering exceptional service every time. We're appreciative and we care. We are Parr Lumber.
Hi there, it's Les Schwab Tires, reminding you that changing seasons can mean changing road conditions. Introducing the brand new Backcountry AT2 for a quieter ride with improved performance in wet conditions. Because when it comes to keeping your family safe, the right tires help you feel prepared for anything. Seriously, anything. Now save up to $130 when you buy Quad-Track tires with financing. Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952.
Sometimes leadership is scary. But so is regret.
You're watching Talkin Ducks, built by Parr Lumber. We'll put your tray tables up and let's go ahead and take off and fly around the Pac-12, brought to you by Eugene Airport. Fly easy, fly EUG. And Anthony, let's start with you. Jimmy Lake out as head coach, nearly a $10 million buyout. The Huskies biting the bullet and making the coaching change. He is gone after the loss at Oregon. He's suspended the next game, and that does it. Less than 2 full seasons for Jimmy Lake up north, a program that has clearly deteriorated. Anthony, what do you make about this change, and are you concerned that Washington might make the correct coaching hire here moving forward?
Well, I'm not. I have no concerns about Washington, but to pay a guy, to walk away, something's going on behind closed doors. To paying that kind of money to walk away, Aaron, can we pay you to walk away? Can we give you? Can Joey pay you off to walk away? Can we do that now?
Joey might have the money. Joey might have the money to write that check. Joey strikes me as a guy who manages money well. So yeah, we can negotiate that. Yes, for sure.
I'm seriously, something is going on behind closed doors that we don't see, because people are talking about, the incident that happened on the sideline against Oregon, and then maybe something that happened last year or 2 years ago. They brought that up now. And it's so strange, because when you talk to other players, you talk to kids who played at Washington, and they all love Jimmy Lake. And that's my problem. Like, there's a disconnect there from admin to the players, because the players love him. The admin, something's happening behind closed doors.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I mean, clearly this is a very disappointing year for them. They believe they had a shot to win the North and win the Pac-12. They still are smarting from last year, from COVID knocking them out of playing Oregon. And then, of course, they claim that Pac-12 North title, rightfully so, I guess, if anyone's going to claim anything. But it's a very disappointing season. The offense is a mess. He made a misfire at offensive coordinator, then fired the coordinator. Sometimes when you start firing coaches, it eventually comes back to you, right? Because you hired those coaches. So I'm not going to sit there and pretend that I know all the ins and outs of it. But, yeah, you pay someone $10 million to go away. There's got to be more there than meets the eye. I thought they'd give him another year, hire a different offensive coordinator, because he's a defensive guy, and their defense has always been good. I mean, they've only given up 19 points per game this year heading into this past weekend, so there's clearly more going on.
And Joey, how about the job Jonathan Smith has done in Corvallis? And just his short tenure there, he has got the Beavers bowl eligible again with a victory over Stanford. And this is a program clearly on the rise. You have to be impressed with what they're building in Corvallis.
I said the moment he arrived that was the perfect hire for Oregon State. He knows, he was literally there as they went from 28 straight losing seasons to becoming Pac-10 champions. I mean, he was the quarterback that turned things around. And he wasn't a highly recruited guy either, right? He was a walk-on who came in and just worked. And so if anybody's going to know how to do it, because let's not pretend like Oregon State and Corvallis is this incredible place to recruit to, right? You have to have a certain recruiting philosophy. You have to go after a certain player. You have to do it a certain way. And Jonathan Smith knows how to do that. Now, look, he got the ball rolling. And at the start of the season, I think things, I don't want to say surprise people, but maybe it happened a little bit sooner. And then by firing the D coordinator, when things started to go south, he put the gauntlet down. He said, I'm not okay with that. I'm not going to be okay with just being average. This is the perfect hire for Oregon State. And honestly, I won't say that I'm scared, right? That's not the correct term. But I can absolutely see Jonathan Smith bringing the Beavers back into this conference championship discussion to where we got, to bring the situation that we had years ago for 15 years, it was back and forth. The home team won between Oregon and Oregon State, and every home game was won by, every game was won by the home team. That's the type of situation that I could see Jonathan Smith bringing Oregon State back to, is that program that is back to conference prominence.
Now, Aaron, I'm saving this one for you because we're going to actually talk about the Ducks being an underdog going into a game. That's right. They're not going to just plow through everybody. They are opening up as an underdog on the road at Utah. What do you make about this Utah matchup? Because this is a Utes team that is getting better and better week after week.
Okay. Utah, first in scoring, first in points per game, third in offense. You get where I'm going with this. They're a complete football team. They do everything well. They rush the ball really well. Their quarterback's not dominant, but he's extremely efficient. He can definitely make plays. And their defense is also solid, or is always solid, and they're at home. Like, this is easily the most scary game in the conference they will have played by far. And I'm not going to say they're going to lose. I'm going to save my prediction for the end of the week. But this is the scariest game they will have played. And to me, it's definitely right now a pick 'em situation. Sorry, Newman.
Well, again, move the goalposts. Let's move it. Or again, like I said earlier, let's talk about the post. Well, no,
I'm gonna just sit back here and listen.
Let's talk about the good things that Oregon will bring to the table and what Utah has to deal with. Can
We
anybody
already
ever
talked
say
about
that?
We spent 45 minutes talking about all the good things.
No, against head to head. Utah is playing Oregon. And the first thing people talk about is, oh, Utah, they do this well, they do that well. But no one ever talks about what Oregon does well. Now we talk about it as a whole, but right now they're underdogs.
Okay,
and everybody keeps talking about
where
Utah.
are they going to win this game, Anthony? Where are they going to win this game?
What's that?
Give me the keys for them to win this game.
Oh, the same old keys for every game. You run the football, you protect the football, you don't give up big plays. End of story. And I don't care where you're playing. In somebody's backyard. I don't care if you're playing, back east. I don't care if you're playing in Utah in the snow. It's the same thing. Those ingredients will help you win football games. And if they can do that and do it well, they'll beat Utah.
You act like I say Oregon's going to lose flat out or something. Man, they'll be getting fired up.
Joey, what? Joey,
save this before it goes completely off the rails.
I got nothing. I'm just sitting here listening. The end of the show, I just sit and wait to get entertained by you two. I get all my stuff out early, and then it's just like I sit back with my arms crossed and just kind of wait for you guys to put on a show.
But Aaron, that's true.
I don't disagree with
about what other
teams.
They always talk about what other teams can do against Oregon. Can you reverse that track? And say what Oregon can do against Utah?
Okay, I'll say what Oregon can do against Utah.
Okay,
run the football and play defense.
Okay.
But all I'm saying is this is going to be the toughest team they're going to have to do that against all season. This team's better than UCLA all around, I think, especially at this point in the season. And they check the boxes that you would worry about. Are they going to be able to run the football in Oregon? I think so. Are they going to be able to at least slow down the running game to not be just steamrolled? I think so. So then Brown's got to make plays. Can their quarterback step up and make plays in key moments? Yes, he can because he has all season. That's why I just think it's kind of scary for Oregon.
Aaron, real quick, before the UCLA game, okay, you thought UCLA was going to win. You thought UCLA was a better football team.
Oregon's 2-0 when I say they're going to lose. So if I say they're going to lose, they're going to win. So you should be encouraging me.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Then I'll retract that. Never mind.
When is this segment over?
All right, when we come back, we'll catch up with Matt Preem of 24/7 Sports. Huge recruiting weekend for both football and men's basketball. We'll also highlight the terrific starts to the season for the women's basketball program, as well as Dana Altman's crew when we come back on Talkin' Ducks. You're watching Talkin' Ducks, built by Parr Lumber. It's time now for some excellence off the football field, presented by Ferguson Wellman. Ferguson Wellman taking a disciplined approach to investing. And how about Kelly Graves and the Oregon women's basketball program? 2 nearly 50-plus point victories over Idaho State and Dixie State to get the season started. They've got some big-time matchups coming up here soon, including a matchup against Oklahoma. We'll catch up with Kelly Graves next week and dive in more into this team. But I did get a chance to see him at practice, and he is stoked about this year's squad. The issue is there's so much talent, he doesn't know who to give minutes to at this point, which I would say as a head coach is a pretty nice problem to have. On the men's side, Dana Altman and team taking care of business. Out the first 2 calls, actually, for their 2 wins over Texas Southern and SMU. Will Richardson, very impressive in both those games. Eric Williams, 19 points in the victory over SMU. And these are 2 early tests for the Ducks. Texas Southern, a team that won an NCAA tournament game last year. SMU, a team that is favored to finish in the top 3 in the AAC. People think they're a tournament team. So for Oregon to get these dominant wins over very athletic, senior-laden programs this early in the season bodes very well for the Ducks. And this is a team with a very talented backcourt with Richardson, Jacob Young, and a lot of other talent back there that's going to help Oregon possibly shock UCLA this season. All right, let's go ahead and get to our recruiting update brought to you by 24/7 Sports. Matt Preem with the latest. Here's our conversation. Matt, thanks again for joining us, and huge weekend in recruiting. And let's start with the football team. A couple of visits to campus in this Washington State game and a verbal commitment as well.
Yeah, 2 5-stars were on campus for the Washington State game, 5-star receiver Kevin Coleman from St. Mary's High School in St. Louis, Missouri, the 3rd best receiver. All indications are that visit is going, or it went as good as possible for Oregon. And then they got the 7th best defensive lineman, the 29th best player in the country in 2023, Jaden Wayne, out of Lincoln High School in Tacoma, Washington, to come down for an unofficial visit. Oregon has put a lot of their time into Jaden Wayne, and Mario Cristobal is deeply involved in this one. There's early hope that Oregon is one of the major players for his early recruitment. And then the 3rd piece of that is Justice Lowe, a 3-star athlete out of Lake Oswego High School. Don't want to call his rival. Lake Oswego High School, 3-star athlete, plays receiver, safety, corner, does everything for the Lakers. He got an offer from Oregon, 2022 player, late in-state offer from the Ducks, certainly one to watch there as well.
And for men's basketball, a rarity, Dana Altman, after a game, talking about recruiting. I mean, that's got to mean something if he's bringing that up after a game.
Yeah, it was a little different from, if you're familiar with Dana Altman and his recruiting, and he is always very reserved about talking about recruits because he is always wanting to see what they get like when they show up. But he wanted to talk about their 3-man recruiting class for the 2022 group, and that's 5-stars Dior Johnson and Keller Ware, junior college transfer Tyrone Williams. He said Dior Johnson is basically going to be a one-and-done guy. He hopes he is. But he also noted that they really needed him because all indications are Will Richardson's going to move on from the program after this year and go pro. Will has 1 year of eligibility left if he wants to use it, but Altman believes he's going to go pro, and they need a point guard for next season. He said Khalil Ware is an elite shot blocker, a big guy that's really athletic. And then Tyrone Williams led JUCO basketball last season in scoring as a freshman and is back for a 2nd season. And so they're very high on his ability to come to Oregon next year and just be a bucket getter for the Ducks.
Last question, Jimmy Lake out at Washington. And is this an opportunity for Oregon to possibly poach some of the talent up in Washington before the Huskies kind of fortify their program? Because you figure there is a window of opportunity for the Ducks.
Oh, look, the crazy thing is from a Washington commit list, and this is how bad things have gone, is there's no one there for Oregon to really want to go and take away, which is just, that speaks volumes to how bad recruiting has gotten at Washington, and that a premier program has no commits that Oregon would want, essentially. In-state guys that aren't committed to UW in the younger classes, the current class, absolutely. The borders to Washington have been opened, and every school, not just Oregon. I mean, Ohio State went into Seattle and took 2 best players from that region last cycle, 2 5-star guys. Oregon needs to try and establish a foothold in the Tacoma, Seattle area, and not only just because they need to get the talent, but the Pac-12 in of itself needs to keep the talent in its own footprint. So there's an opportunity for Oregon to really kind of stake a good claim in that state, which does produce every year a good amount of players. But the league in itself also needs to prevent some of these schools from outside the conference to come in there and take the best players.
All right, stick around. When we come back, we will highlight the matchup between Oregon and Utah. The Ducks' toughest test of the season awaits them in Salt Lake City.
Eugene Airport is a proud part of what makes Western Oregon such a unique place to be. With nonstop routes that connect to hundreds of destinations, fly local, fly EUG.
In the heart of the South Willamette Valley, just 12 miles southwest of Eugene, distinctive handcrafted wines are waiting for you at Sylvan Ridge Winery. Sylvan Ridge Wines bring unassuming, casual elegance to your homes, tables, and celebrations, and are best paired with the mainstays of a social gathering: good food, fond friends, and lively conversation. Discover our wines by visiting our tasting room. For a list of events or to plan your visit, go to sylvanridge.com. Proud partners of the Oregon Ducks.
Since 1961, Comfort Flow Heating has provided service to more than 50,000 homes and businesses in the Willamette Valley. While the technology and techniques in our industry have changed, our founding principles have remained the same: to provide exceptional service in all areas of our business and for our customers to enjoy their products from us and be comfortable for years to come.
From all of us at Comfort Flow, thank you for choosing us.
Go Ducks!
You're watching Talkin Ducks, built by Parr Lumber. Welcome back. Let's have a toast now, brought to you by Sylvan Ridge Winery, proud partners of the Oregon Ducks. And Joey, you look at all the disarray with coaching in the Pac-12. We've had 3 coaching changes already this season. That's 25% of the Pac-12. When you look at this, how much of appreciation should we have for Mario Cristobal? We already love the man. We already love what he's done with this program, but it really seems to stand out when you look at how much dysfunction is happening in the conference at this moment.
I've said it many times before. We are extremely lucky that Mario was sitting there and waiting for us. This man has done an incredible job, not just of embracing the past of what was Oregon, but helping to shape what he wants it to be in the future. And that's happening. I mean, you look around the conference, like you said, and program after program are struggling to find an identity. And Mario and his guys know who they are. And I think that's incredibly important. And you know what's really important too? Is they didn't stray from that. They didn't buy into all the mess at the beginning of the season. They just kept being steady. And that's why they are where they are right now at this point of the year.
All right, let's hop in and hit Victory Road, brought to you by Capital Toyota in Salem, your way on the Parkway. And Anthony, a few weeks ago, you highlighted the fact that Oregon will be going to Salt Lake City to take on the Utes and their naked fans in the stadium here. You look at this test for Oregon, and this is clearly their most difficult game of the year. How do they get the win when they are really not favored in this one and facing one of the hottest teams in the country in the Utes?
Well, what I was referring to is it's cold there, and the student body, before the game, they're drinking their little juice, and they come to the game, and somehow their clothes come off, okay, and they're yelling and screaming. So you got to deal with that along with the football team. But it's a challenge for Oregon. There's no doubt about it. But it's a challenge for Utah as well. Every time Oregon's on the stage, every time they're under the spotlight, they show up. Okay, and now both teams will be under the spotlight. Everybody's going to be watching, so it's going to be a dogfight. It really is. And the keys, and I talked about the keys. You have to run the football. Okay, you can't give up explosion plays, and you can't turn the ball over. And if you can do those things well, and you can do it on any football field, you'll win the football game.
You know what, Anthony? And I'm actually surprised that you didn't quite, say chime in on this. Utah, great, solid defense, right? Who's the best rushing defense in the conference right now? Oregon Ducks. The Oregon Ducks are leading the conference in rushing defense, and that is going to be the key for me, right? We know who Oregon is on offense. We've seen them, great offensive line, steady running back, quarterback that does what it takes to win. But this defense, and especially the rush defense, all year has been playing under the radar. They haven't gotten the credit they've deserved. I think they're going to be the key to winning this game on the road at Utah.
I'm afraid to say anything else.
Aaron, I love you. Go ahead. Speak up. Speak up.
I mean, I'll say what I said earlier, assuming it makes it into the show. Look, to me, it's a pick 'em. I think this is just a scary matchup for them. I think you're right about everything you said, Joey, and you said, Newman. I think Oregon is probably going to win. But if we see some turnovers, if we see an inability to convert on third down, which are going to come up at some point, of course, then all of a sudden things could go the other way. So I really think that this is going to be a true test. And the type of game that they can win this by 2 or 3 touchdowns, I think it does send the message to the rest of the country that the Ducks might be worthy of a playoff berth.
All right, guys, we can't wait for this one. Clearly the biggest game of the year for the Ducks, so it'll be exciting to see what happens. But thanks again for joining us, and make sure you catch us next week on Talkin' Ducks because we will break down this game against Utah. You figure if Oregon gets the win, it is cleared runway for potentially a berth in the college football playoff. We'll see what happens, but from all of us here, thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next week.